it means that the future is bright for these mega cap tech companies. And I say that because they win in two ways, these companies specifically. They win in selling AI, and we saw that in Google's quarter, both across, Gemini and, their AI products. We're seeing some pretty good uptake in those. They also win with cloud. We saw that accelerate to 35% growth. Obviously, AI workloads you have to get the compute and the storage in the cloud. And as those workloads are happening, Google is seeing their growth pick up. So they're selling AI, they're enabling AI, so there's growth there. But the second way, it's kind of two-pronged, is that, and we saw this in the quarter as well, we're seeing margin expansion for the companies that are using AI to get more out of their workforce and to increase productivity and reduce costs. Google's operating margins went up by 450 basis points, or 4.5%, in part because they're using AI. Google's not the only one we've seen do this. Accenture was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Honeywell's talked about it. So you can use AI to help margins, and we're seeing Google do that.
But isn't it turning out to be, and I know that from a market standpoint, this is great news, right? Cost cutting is something that the markets like. Restructuring is something that the markets like. Margin expansion is something that the markets like. But what about letting go of people in an environment where you don't know how robust the jobs market would be, and how that gets into a feedback loop where we see an impact overall on the jobs numbers and thereby economic activity? So yes, productivity of a specific group of people who can protect their jobs remains and only increases, but then you're letting go of a lot of other people whose jobs may be getting redundant. And so I don't know how you reconcile these gaps within the economy, broader economy.
No, it's an important point, and one is a macro lens and one is an investor lens. And I just described the investor lens, and as you noted, we both agree it's good if you're an investor, it's good for shareholder value. But from the macroeconomic standpoint, you're right. I mean, there certainly is a displacement that happens when we see new technologies come into the fold. AI is not the first example of technology displacing workers and, the old whole creative destruction kind of mantra. And I think the reality is that we already saw a pretty big wave of quote unquote cost optimization among the big cap tech companies, whether it's Meta, whether it's Google, whether it's Microsoft, over the last 12 to 18 months. So I think the pig is through the python on that. Yes, there are going to be some folks that see their jobs go away because of AI, but there are going to be new jobs created. So I think on balance, that creative destruction adds more jobs over time, but not without friction. So I think you can be bullish on the economy with AI. You can also be bullish as an investor with AI, but there will be some growing pains, to be sure.